Welcome, friends of the Greasy Shop Rag. Today we're going to take a look at a Husqvarna 122L string trimmer. Customer complaint is that it just doesn't want to run right. So the way these things are jetted and the way the airbox is built, they're really restricted. You see that small hole right there? All of the air that feeds the engine comes through that little, maybe 3/8 of an inch diameter hole. I don't even know if the hole is as big as the opening of the carburetor. So our kill switch doesn't work. We'll get back to that. It's pretty obvious that the airbox is restricting airflow. And what I like to do on these things is just open up the airbox. Alongside of the air intake that's really webbed into that box is kind of a flat area. And I usually drill it out to about a 1/2 inch or so. Right now I've got a 3/8 inch hole in there, and we're just going to see if that makes a difference in how it runs. Okay, so it ran better with the 3/8 inch hole, but it wasn't quite there. You'll notice I tuned the carburetor right about at the point where it would start to 4-stroke, so I had a consistent tune point, I guess I'd call it. We're going to take this 3/8 inch hole out to 1/2, maybe 9/16 of an inch, and then we're going to try it again. Pull the schmutz out of there. So I'm not really sure why Husqvarna builds them this way. I don't know if it's an emissions type of deal or if it's a fuel economy deal. but they don't run real good. You know, they're inconsistent, a little bit low on power, sometimes hard to tune. Always come back with complaints. I drill the airbox out like this and adjust it like you normally would adjust a trimmer, and they don't come back. I just wanted to show this next clip that this trimmer can be tuned exactly the same with or without the airbox, and it achieves the same max RPM. Although with the airbox intact, that max RPM, it just doesn't feel like it's producing the same power. And it's probably not. We're not introducing as much fuel into the cylinder or as much air. So let's take a look at the same thing but with a tack. Why they do this? It's so restricted. Now if I open it up, top end. Alright, so you saw that max RPM was about 9,000, either with the airbox factory original and tuned to the point just about where it 4 strokes, or without the airbox tuned the same way, which takes about a full turn out on the high-speed screw to achieve. So I don't do this on new equipment. I do it on out-of-warranty trimmers. But after I've done it, there's no complaints. So let's dig into this switch a little bit here. There's some springs and such going on in here, and people don't like to open up these handles. So let's try and figure out what's going on. When I hit the kill switch, the engine wasn't dying. So we got to decide if it's a wiring issue or a switch problem. The switch on this one's buried in the other half of the handle. There's a connector right here that connects the switch to the ignition coil. We're going to test the switch at this connector. We're going to set our ohm meter on our...
Scott, line 1 please. Scott, line 1.
Always get interrupted. Alright, we're going to set our meter to ohms. And we're checking resistance in the circuit. First, I always test my leads. We're just going to plug into the 2 pins on the switch side of this connection. And then activate the switch. 2, 3, 4, 5. The 5th time I hit the switch, it worked. So it's a little bit of an intermittent switch problem. At least it feels that way right now. It's still possible that the problem is that short wire between the connection and the switch, and we'll test that in a little bit. So we're dropping this other half of the handle down, being mindful of that spring that was on the trigger. The way this switch is in here, the wires, once pushed on the switch, they don't want to just push off very easily because they're hitting ribbed support in the handle. So I kind of break them loose, and then I'll have to get the switch pushed up out of here a little bit and then finish taking the wires off. Yeah, something like that. We can test the switch itself. We'll just run across the two terminals and hit the switch. Yeah, tried to fix something that wasn't broken and now we got a reflection. Well, the switch kind of seems like it's working now. No, it wasn't. No, it did. I think there's an intermittent problem in the switch. But we're going to test the wires too. We'll just test from each end of the wire. Here we go. That wire seems to be good. We'll test the other half. It seems to be good. We're going to throw a new switch in it. I won't say we're loading the parts cannon and firing away. I mean, we did test the thing. And initially it felt like it was an intermittent problem. So I'm pushing the switch into the hole, but I'm not snapping it all the way into place. I want to get the wires started on the switch while I have kind of easy access of the terminals. I don't know how well you can see this, but if I were to push the wires onto the terminals right now, it'd be hard to get the switch lined up and set into place. There we go. Alright, there's our spring. We're going to put that off to the side. You'll notice I'm using a piece of 4x4 to support that handle. This really makes a difference, acting like a third hand here to help get this job done. We plugged the wire harness back in. Kind of laid it in its track where it belongs. Here's our spring. It goes in that switch just like that, or that lever just like that. And then once I push the lever over the pin in the handle half, we just have to raise that spring up and get it on the other side of another pin that's there. Keeps slipping out of my hand, but there we go. That's all there is to that spring. We'll get our throttle cable laid into its track. Tuck the wire connector into place. This wire connector is kind of accessible when everything's put together. You should just be able to pull that wire out of there and access that connection. Alright, we're going to have to put some screws back in here. Throttle trigger feels good. We're just going into plastic here so don't get carried away. That screw kind of locates things. Gotta find the rest of my screws. Alright, we're going to finish this up and then we're going to run it again and try that switch. And if it works, then that's all I'm going to have for you on the Husqvarna 122L trimmer that just needed to breathe. Thanks for watching. Later.